Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Asia Games qualifiers. Here, we've got Korea taking on China's Taipei, and already we're getting into this pick and ban. And we'll see how this works out for Korea, coming fresh off of their game a little bit earlier. Again, we don't know quite where we are in these qualifiers. But again, my name is Dom, and joining me here is Raz.
All right, just taking a look at the bans immediately. I love when teams like Chinese Taipei go up against Korea and immediately take away the Camille. Yeah. Because that one in and of itself can go in two directions, and we know that Peanut is super aggressive, so picking up the Camille really hits his play style well. And I say Keen because Keen is actually a really good carry top laner, so giving him the Camille, even though we see it primarily as a jungler, is just, I guess 2 birds, 1 stone, get it out of there. We don't want to see the pick.
And then on the other side, though, it looks like we've got Peanut playing in the jungle this time instead of Score, so Korea perhaps returning towards the original roster that they brought here into this Asia Games. Now taking on Chinese Taipei. Again, that Karma Aurelia banned away. Lulu denied as well, as Chinese Taipei will find themselves on the blue side with this first pick. We'll see how they decide to round out their champions here as we look to the final ban from Korea.
A lot of protection being taken away is what you already see. So you can just go for an Ezreal first pick. That could be interesting. Remember that Graves is still online. Graves, Ezreal, Zoe. I would say Zoe is the safest one you can first pick here. So I wonder if that's what Chinese Taipei is going to go towards.
And again, this is on patch 8.10. So the Ezreal buffs, or sorry, the Ezreal nerfs in 8.11 not quite hitting just yet. And he's still super strong. It's locked in. We'll see that going to Betty. But now we'll see how Korea decide to play around that.
So naturally, you can go towards a Varus pick and just put the priority towards a mage support so you can take over the matchup. So I would see that to be the case. Remember that Zoe is still up and available. So I would say Korea should just go for a Zoe pick for Faker early on, unless if he wants to go for a Galio. He has a few options. I think Faker is a weird player because he doesn't just go straight towards the meta, blind pick all the time. He always has a few counter pick that he's willing to go towards. So let's see what he goes here.
We do see Peanut locking in Skarner for the Impale, quick and easy engage, and then a Rakan along with it. So no mage support, no Varus. Instead, looks like Korea are taking a bit of an all-in composition. Or sorry, a team fight, I should say.
Yeah, team fight, good pick here. So even if they just decide for the rest of the picks could just be hella poke, they at least have some pick potential with the Rakan and Skarner, solidifying it really early on. And what they can also do here is go for a Xayah early. If they don't go for Xayah early, that can actually just get completely banned out in second phase. So I wonder if they just get the Lovers duo right in the first phase.
Already set themselves up with a very strong bottom lane and jungler, but as an answer, China's Taipei will be taking Ornn on the other side, and now we're looking at a final pick as Morgana being hovered. A good answer. Whenever you see that Skarner running at you, whenever you think Rakan is getting a little antsy with the flash quickness, just drop that black shield onto Betty to try to keep him safe.
A lot of value there. Really the first mage support that came out when all that, when the craze was happening, you just got the Morgana support, so it's nice to see her coming back here.
Faker getting a little funny with us with the Thresh hover. We very well could see the Rakan jungle. It's been a while, but hey, we've seen crazier things in 8.10, 8.11, but in the end, it will be Yasuo locked in for Korea. We'll see if that goes to Faker, Ruler, or Keen, as that can go just about anywhere. And now we're getting to the next set of bans.
I would say Faker will be taking it. Remember, 8.11 was when the crit changes happened, so it's very likely going to be a Yasuo mid. It could be Yasuo top. I mean, it's okay versus the Ornn, but no, Faker's been spamming it consistently in solo.
Exactly.
It is very safe to say that he's going for it.
Vladimir instead is going to be the next ban, taken away from Chinese Taipei, a very safe, sustained champion. There's that Xayah ban, so perhaps Chinese Taipei still worried a little bit about that bottom lane. If Peanut shows up to affect it, if Faker gets the chance to roam down and set up with a knockup, that's real scary. And even the Galio going to be banned away.
Yeah, and it should just be a Varus secondary ban. Remember, the fact that we don't see an AD carry being picked up on first phase means that Ruler is going to be tested a little bit. Might go towards the Tristana, perhaps. I would want to see something that has lane dominance, but I feel like that's been wrestled away just based off that, I guess, leaving it to second phase alone. Oh, actually.
Shen instead banned away from Keen. We've seen how effective he has been on that champion, just split pushing all across the map. You just made a real funny face.
I mean, he's
the moment that Kog'Maw was hovered and
like,
locked in. Holy cow!
I mean, I was literally like, take Varus, please. Por favor, please take Varus. That's all I want.
Yeah, instead.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw is great if you, like, in the matchup, you get poked quite heavily, like time and time again. But Kog'Maw, once you are getting the ball rolling, obviously his damage just ramps up. And he has a pretty good build that he can go towards. Actually, he has a lot of builds he can go with. The predominant one has been the crit build. Is that an...
Yes, it's an Azir against what we presume to be that Yasuo mid lane. So very fun composition out of both sides. Raz looks nearly speechless here as Korea are filling out with that Yasuo Kog'Maw on patch 8.10. And again, this is after the damage nerfs, but not the crit item changes. So that ruler Kog'Maw could still be effective. Azir on the other side for Maple, and Trundle locked in for Bebe. That means Keen gets the chance to counterpick against Ornn.
I guess they have the late game skirmish. The one thing I'll look towards and say that Azir still has this perfect is the Azir Sec ultimate ability. Once he uses his Shurima Shuffle, it's actually really difficult for an Azir to get away from that because he's a melee champion. Naturally, if you want to go for it, you're going to take it. So 2v1 ganks is what I'm expecting post 6, and Exhaust is what he's hovering on just to keep safe in the lane. But Azir got nerfed so often.
Yeah.
His damage is so bad in the early game. So, like, he'll scale up just fine, but we'll see if that's even a thing because 8.10 is a pretty fast meta.
It seems, though, that's the name of the game from both of these teams. Yes, they might be playing in a fast meta, but, Rez, we've got Ezreal Azir versus Kog'Maw Gangplank Yasuo. There's a lot of scaling on both sides of this matchup, though we do see some opportunity for some quick engages. Skarner Rakan leaping in. Trundle able to get the pillar onto Kog'Maw and just run him down, plus the Morgana Dark Binding.
Yeah, I like the Rakan Yasuo combination pretty heavily. I feel like it's a very easy one to get going. As long as Rakan has flash, it's gonna happen. So I'm putting some of my chips towards Korea, just a little bit, a few of them. I'll say that Korea has a pretty nice composition to utilize, and that Chinese Taipei is pretty good, but I would say it's very easy to execute later on in the game. Early on in the game, it's pretty difficult because it means you need coordination around the Azir Sec, and you need to basically keep him up in lane because he's going to need it.
Well, we'll see how that works out for them if they're able to play around that coordination and communication. Because right now, Korea are going to try to bring them down with this scaling composition as we load onto the Rift for this game between Chinese Taipei and Korea, ready to charge out of the base.
That is a lethal tempo Azir. I mean, I usually I take some time before I really hammer into a lot of these things. But lethal tempo Azir is super good in late game. He's all inning on it. You usually want to go Airy or Comet for the laning phase so you can contest the whatever matchup you have, because the usual matchups are pretty difficult for Azir right now. So now that you have lethal tempo, it's actually kind of bad in lane. Having precision as a primary, you're not going to be dealing that much damage, even though you will get the immediate attack speed.
It seems almost like Chinese Taipei are trying to seed over the early game with this Azir, with the lethal tempo, as you mentioned, just looking for scaling and passivity. The concern that I have is how that affects the mid-jungle duo. Trundle wants to try to affect these lanes. Obviously, Skarner's going to do the exact same thing the moment he ticks over to level 6. Just find someone and press the R button.
2 lanes, or at least 2 roles that'll be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. You're right, Bebe's going to be doing a lot of that. Trundle is pretty good in towards Skarner, just naturally. Trundle Pillar is going to make it very difficult for Peanut to get any engages off or just to be able to get out of there. That's great. That's fantastic. At least you have that going for you. Betty and Sword Art, Ezreal and Morgana are pretty damn good in towards the Kog'Maw Rakan lane. So as long as, I would say, Trundle plays towards bottom lane, and can keep Maple well warded up so he's farming out the lane matchup, then I like their chances early. Like, that is a good enough early game bridge for me.
Okay. We'll see if it works out for them as Peanut gets himself a leashless start onto Raptors and immediately heads over to Red. Again, that Shrine providing a lot of bonus stats over to this Skarner. On the other side, we did see a leash start to Bebe. He's going buff to buff, and it looks like Peanut might be doing the same. He just started with that Raptors first. Already, though, the assist pings into the river as Peanut doesn't blast cone over the wall, but blast cones into vision to try and take that early Scuttle Crab.
Very safe. Remember, Skarner, known for being a level 4 to level 6 jungler, so he takes some time in his own camp. So he usually wants to get out early to take the Scuttle Crab, just so he can go back and safely farm. So Bebe is already out and about. I mean, remember, you already said that taking double buff, going back out to take a Scuttle Crab, means that, Skarner lost out. He's not going to have the ability to do that. He's going to get pushed around a little bit.
Yeah, Bebe's still chasing down this Skarner, just taking those shrines for extra bonus gold. Peanut Now spotted out here. Bebe just with the chomp and red buff for a slow. Peanut's trying to skirmish around this. Remember, the bottom lane from Korea is being pushed in right now.
And you know that Peanut is not going to just willingly give away his blue. He actually does. Peanut is the type to bring people in a really risky environment to at least get the buff. So now he's a Skarner without blue buff, which isn't necessarily bad if he plays around his spires, but it definitely makes his early game a lot more hard.
You can even see PK pushing into the top lane of Keen to get control of the river. Spots out Peanut, trying to get a retaliation scuttle grab on the top half of the map. And now he's stepping into the jungle to try and look for the wolves or perhaps the Gromp. But look at that, Bebe's already completed his recall. He's got his challenging smite. Might be ready to contest Peanut if he stays any longer.
Yeah, he should be okay though. There are question mark pings being placed here, so you're right, they know that Skarner's in the area. But as long as he takes wolf camps and get the hell out of there, he's okay. But, you know, a few people would be like, wolf camp,
Peanut?
Gromp.
Yeah, would he do that?
Maybe. I think Peanut's been so far pretty nice. I mean, it's only 4 minutes into the game, so 4 minutes in saying that he hasn't lost his mind is weird. But I would say it's nice to see.
Yeah, for the time being, he's holding on. And still 20 CS to 20 CS, but like we said, 3 buff start to Bebe, and he got that Scuttlecrab bottom lane first, which keeps him a little bit safer as Keen eats a hit from PK on that Gangplank. Biscuit delivery should help keep him topped up and buy him enough time to at least look for the Sheen recall, as Betty will go for his own recall with teleport for a tier in the bottom lane.
Keen is in a pretty tough spot because even though the wave is in a decent spot for him, it's slowly pushing outwards. And worst thing about that is he can't follow the wave. He's way too low in mana and HP, so he needs to find a time to base. He still has teleport, but he doesn't want to be in a teleport disadvantage.
Still just holding on in that top lane. Dark Binding goes across. Core JJ is thinking of stepping up as Bio Arcane auto attack finds Betty, and Sword Art will start to step up to force them back. Meanwhile, Peanut, he's starting to maneuver around the jungle. He's starting to invade to contest Bebe, while Faker on this Yasuo keeps Maple busy, gets himself on the wrong side of the minion wave, and even with Bebe spotted, Ruler can't finish off these Raptors.
Now, here's the thing. Bebe getting a push here, be able to wrestle control of his blue side, bot side. I expect him to head back to base and get a Tiamat, so he's much faster. I'm actually surprised he finished up his red smite jungle really early on. Instead of going straight towards the Tiamat, he was in a pretty good position. Most junglers would be able to do that to speed up their camps. Speed up your camp, speed up the pace of the game, and then so you can contest Peanut a little bit more easily. So that's what I was looking for. It's not happening.
For now, though, picks up those Predator boots and starts scuttling his way around. And he's even got some assistance from Core JJ as this bottom wave is pushed in. We can see Ruler doing the same thing with his own recall as he's got teleport ready, and Peanut will get that second scuttle respawn with the assistance of his team. So we are seeing some communication from the Korean lineup, which does bode well if they want to try to stall out this constant Trundle pressure, as Peanut has finally gotten to level 4.
It's good help. Peanut will be able to get to level 5 off of this blue side jungle, so once he gets Wolf Camp, there we go. He's now level 5. It's a really good position for him. All he needs is that one more level before he can actually start actively playing a role in the composition. Because for the most part, it's just been the laners doing well for themselves and combating Bebe.
Does buy time for these laners to scale up. Kog'Maw, Ezreal, Azir, and Gangplank so dependent on items and levels to get them into that late game. The question is, who comes into that late game with an advantage, or are we going to go into this late game at neutral with both of the teams at even? We're 7 minutes in. We haven't seen any action or excitement just yet outside of Bebe's invade. Blue buff gets passed over to Maple, and a Cloud Dragon is the first of the game.
There are too many active points on the map. We already talked about all the engage points from Korea's side.
Yeah.
But also from Chinese Taipei, the fact that you can utilize PK's Ornn ulti and Maple's ulti himself to Shurima Shuffle, like all of those allow you for fighting. So, hey, maybe if Sword Art is playing this purposely, you'll get completely denied.
Yeah.
And that's a possibility.
That's what we've seen just now. Faker roaming towards the bottom half of the map, sorry, the bottom lane, is denied his last breath as Core JJ finds himself the quickness grand entrance, but not able to get the knockup as Maple and Bebe will spot Faker back in that mid lane and reclaim control over this river. Constant tug of war over vision on this side of the map as Chinese Taipei are pretty evenly contesting Korea throughout the course of this laning phase. Still Keen, happy that this is happening. That buys him time to farm up. He's got that Sheen all finished up. PK just being quite the nuisance as well. What is this?
I'm just checking to see how Peanut's faring right now. So
okay, level 6 to level
5.
5, yeah, no subjugate for Bebe. And 9 CS ahead for Peanut. Despite the early invade, though, subjugate is now picked up. Bebe finally ticks over to 6. He's actually pinging directly onto Peanut as blue buff is up. Chinese Taipei might be looking to contest.
Yeah, Peanut's on the hunt now. Wait a minute. Trundle is actually in the wrong position. Faker is not in the area to protect him just yet, but the flank is possible.
There's the assist ping. Battle dance to get Core JJ over there. Bebe is trying to back out of this. Peanut denied the chance to engage by that Pillar of Frost. And Peanut will be able to get his blue buff as Maple heads back to the mid lane.
See, that's how the problem in the matchup, the Shurima shuffle.
Finds Faker and the subjugate on top of it. Maple trying to get one final auto attack, but not able to as Faker just walks away from this Azir.
Yeah, ideally you want to be able to place the Trundle Pillar right then and there to support the Azir, but I guess he didn't have that available.
Whoa,
okay.
Flash from Peanut, an immediate answer from Bebe. Faker, meanwhile, has gone in onto Maple. There's the Cannon Barrage. Faker gets first blood, plus the Impale onto Bebe under the turret with nowhere to go. Peanut finds the kill.
Literally a 1v1 happening on both ends. It's like a tornado tag team match. You think there's supposed to be a 2v2 happening, but they both win based off their individual strengths. So somehow Maple ended up losing out in that because Faker was up close and personal. So well done on the Korean side of things.
Yeah, and the biggest winner of all was Keen with that Cannon Barrage, finding 2 assists now, able to affect both. Again, we are going to try to fast forward through this pause real quick and get into this one. And there we go. Game resuming in 5, 4. No, game is not resumed. 4. That's the one. 3, 2, and we're back into this. His teleport was just completed from Betty in that bottom lane. He's got a Sheen picked up. No Manamune finished yet. But again, Korea finding those kills onto Maple and Bebe. That means Peanut will take this Cloud Dragon as well. And it's Korea who come into the mid game with an advantage.
Yeah, now with that being said, Peanut being able to wrestle control of the map, super important. Beforehand, he was level 6, level 7 now, and he was not able to make an actual play worthwhile. But now that he's able to be pushing up pretty consistently, I'm looking towards what lane he goes to actually get his stinger going. So ultimate, he's going to be an active point on the map.
We'll see where that Impale is utilized. There's a lot of option to that bottom lane. Core JJ still holding onto the flash quickness to try and catch Sword Art or Betty before a black shield comes out. Maybe try to look for Maple as that flash is still on cooldown. Heck, even PK in the top lane. He's still got his flash, but if he ends up overextended, Peanut's got his pick of the litter. Yeah,
but he wants to go for something that turns into an eventual kill. It's going to be difficult for PK to actually be the one that goes down just because
he's an Ornn. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not going to be enough. Unless, of course, if Yasuo ends up coming in along. If it was a 3v1, sure, I agree. So for me, key targets are right. It's going to be Maple primarily, especially since he doesn't have any of the summoners.
Oh, there's the Shurima shuffle onto Faker that you were talking about. Bebe sidesteps the Steel Tempest. Great pillar. Knocks Faker back.
I feel like everything startles me. I just never find it. I'm never comfortable when there's a 2v2, 3v1. Ultimately, like, Faker is fine. He loses his flash at the end, but he ends up surviving.
Uh-oh, that's called the Forge God. Bebe used the Subjugate earlier, but Keen is about to be dove here, but look behind them. It's Peanut. Faker, meanwhile, killed Maple, and Peanut might be able to kill Bebe. There's no Subjugate, and Peanut's doing some damage. On the Frozen Domain, though, that's the time for Trundle to shine. Meanwhile, Keen follows up. He flashes in. Peanut goes low, and will trade 1 for 1. And now Keen has got to back away from the Ornn. 1-0 and 2, but it's 4 kills to 1 as Faker finished off Maple.
Goodness gracious, there's just so much happening at this time. At the very least, the Peanut pick off on Bebe, really well done. But somehow Maple died in all of that.
Yes. Somehow Maple died in all of that. Faker was able to kill him. Now 2-0 on this Yasuo that we can see. Again, we're going to fast forward through this pause and get you right back to live.
Where's his body?
He respawned.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right.
There we go. And we're back in. That's okay. You can. There it is.
Okay, we're good.
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back into this. 12 minutes in, Korea with the 2,000 gold lead. And are they about to get first brick gold onto the Yasuo too?
Yes.
Oh boy.
So like I was about to talk about the top lane skirmish and feel like, oh, you know, something's gonna happen about it. But this is the much larger battle that happened.
Oh yeah.
The fact that Faker was able to get down Maple, kill him in the lane, and that has the first mid lane tower 12 minutes into the game. So Korea should ideally play around the fact that this mid lane tower is now down. An extra wave to push and allow themselves to look for another lane. So right now Faker, push mid lane, look bottom lane, and help out Kog'Maw in the battle.
Oh boy, that's looking real scary. He's finished off that Phantom Dancer and has a BF sword. Maple picks up blue buff. Look, he's trying to make some pancakes as Core JJ is the one who goes down to the grill and finds a kill onto Betty.
All right, Core JJ. An excellent kickoff there. Doing super well for himself. Didn't even have to blow flash, so that's just a poor positioning from Betty overall. Right now, the lanes of Korea are just dominating. That's just what's happening. Top lane was a little bit of a 2v2, sure, that's fair. Peanut outplaying it, be able to get a kill trade. But yeah, it's not looking too good on the side of just Chinese Taipei overall.
Peanut steals away the red buff. A Dark Binding from Sword Art misses. Bebe is trying to make something happen out of it by taking this Rift Herald along with PK. Meanwhile, bottom tier 1 still being pushed, so it's gold now versus potential gold later for the two. Ruler's even denying some CS to Betty and Sword Art as Betty makes his way out of the base from that death that he gave up. There's the Rift Herald. Bebe picks it up. He's got a 4-minute window to try to utilize it, but all the tier 1s are still really healthy out of Korea.
Yeah, and I feel like the moment you are this far behind, Rift Herald becomes less and less valuable because, especially with the composition Korea has.
Yeah.
They know that Rift Herald's been taken, they know what the target is likely going to be, which is mid lane, and they should be in the position to look for a fight. Literally just a fight. Phantom Dancer being picked up by Faker, and Ruler has been freed in lane with a Rage Blade. So why don't they just head up mid the moment you see Trundle starting to channel? That, to me, is worrying for Chinese Taipei. And
that looks like that's what we see here, as already Ruler sitting in that mid lane. Faker doesn't have teleport, but he's happily split pushing bottom, using that 1-3-1. Trinity Force even finished for Keen with Cannon Barrage and teleport. As Korea are ready to rumble Chinese Taipei, what's the answer going to be? We're still waiting. 3 minutes left on that Rift Herald buff. But it's getting real dangerous.
So at this point, Trundle can change things up, go top lane with the Rift Herald, especially with their dual lane now just being there. That would make it a lot easier for themselves, and they wouldn't get answered immediately. That might be the most ideal choice here.
See what that's going to be. Betty and Sword Art are hanging out on this side of the map. Keen, perhaps the king, sitting in that brush, chucks out a barrel. Dark Binding is going to miss, but he still eats an orange just in case he wanted the health, and that turret will be defended as Keen walks it back, but Peanut's on this side of the map, and that means they now know the duo of Chinese Taipei are pushing up.
Yeah, they need Trundle pronto. A lot of the push happening on the opposite side of the map. Ornn will not be able to handle the Yasuo. There we go. Comes down.
That's it. The Rift Herald, as you predicted. Keen steps up. He's trying to hold the minion wave.
Core JJ's at a flank, possibly.
He's trying to get there behind him. He's got the flash quickness. Who's his target going to be? The charge goes in, but they manage to get the eye as it's charging and are able to defend the top tier 1. Even Ruler was trekking his way top.
And that's the problem. If you're that far behind in the composition, they don't even need to necessarily throw all of their resources at you. Yasuo is still sticking pretty true in the bottom lane with Kog'Maw mid, so all they really did was just fizzle out the Rift Herald, and they didn't need to even look for the fight.
Oh, Peanuts on the chase. Maple able to walk under his tier 2 as Peanut will fight and steal away that, Raptor camp from Chinese Taipei, and Korea finishes off the Infernal Dragon. And Keen still trading back against Betty. Finally, though, the tier 1 will go down, traded over for Infernal on the other side of the map.
This game, I'm telling you.
This game.
It really does need, like, something has to happen on the Chinese Taipei side. They have to get creative. It's a little difficult because that's calling on PK to start moving away from his lane to create opportunities, number opportunities with his ultimate. We haven't seen anything. It's been completely blocked out. He's been stuck under towers, or at least like in lane with either a Gangplank or a Yasuo. That needs to stop with the pace of this game.
Right now, 151 CS. He's got Iceborne Gauntlet. He's trying to deal with that Gangplank, as you mentioned, but Keen is starting to get a little bit bigger. Again, that bonus gold from Gangplank will start to pay off eventually, as it's 4.5 going on 5,000 gold lead for Korea. CoreJJ steps up, eats a Dark Binding to the face. That's the quickness, True Shot Barrage, and Betty gets the kill as CoreJJ panics and dies.
All right, there we have it. That's the creativity we're talking about, sitting on a bush and just looking at chomps on people. So CoreJJ was just on a warding journey as per usual, nearby Ruler, so he thought he just had, you know, the protection at all times. Just not what he expected. So now with this point forward, Korea is likely going to be just having Peanut constantly be by his side, so they can place the wards, because those vision, the control wards need to be placed around Baron 17 minutes into the game. It's necessary. Well, actually, they don't even need CoreJJ apparently. Peanut is just doing it with Faker.
Clearing out the wards that were placed earlier by Chinese Taipei. CoreJJ's back up. He's got 2 more control wards ready just in case Chinese Taipei wanted to fight for wards even further. Meanwhile, Maple, he's got that blue buff. He's still 0-2, only 6 CS behind Faker, but in terms of effectiveness in these fights, it's going to take a while for Maple's damage to catch up to this 2-0 Yasuo, who's nearly got Infinity Edge. Plus, nearly a 2-item Kog'Maw as well. Korea are just accelerating this late game to come sooner and sooner, and Chinese Taipei are sitting and waiting for it the old-fashioned way.
I wonder what the Azir is going to pick to allow them to really be impactful here. Rylai's Crystal Scepter is usually the go-to, but you'd have Nashor's, Rylai's, and Void Staff. That would be pretty nice for these fights, but that's asking too much out of Azir with what seems to be an escalated game. This game is getting pushed way too quickly. Baron is already being pressured on the side of Korea. When it comes back up, when it comes up, that is, in 20 minutes, you won't have the ability to even get your Rylai's Crystal Scepter, let alone the full build.
We know that patch 8.10 is a snowball meta. I mean, I was thinking the exact same thing as you, Raz. Like, how come they aren't fighting over Baron? Oh, it's only 19 minutes into the game. It hasn't spawned yet. But already, Korea are prepping for it. They've got so many wards. They've got so much vision. Keen still sitting on that teleport at level 13. He's finished off his Youmu's now, picks himself up a stopwatch. Peanut gets himself Banner of Command. Faker's got the Infinity Edge and another BF sword. This is looking real dire. Let's see what Ruler can get with this recall. If he gets the chance to, he's going to back up and actually force the recall, so he's temporarily off the map, but already Korea are ready to fight.
And Faker usually gets GA as a 3rd item.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot more easier for him to all in a lot of these times. So when CoreJJ goes in, he can follow up, and he doesn't have to be afraid of the follow-up damage coming in from Chinese Taipei, obliterating him. Because the best thing about GA is that it convinces everyone else to not focus you down, because it doesn't matter.
The mental game.
So like it's the mental tank factor, and then when they do kill him, then of course.
Look at this from behind the wall. God. Peanut and Faker are 2-manning the Baron. Plus they've got some assistance from Ruler and CoreJJ. They sweep out and clear all of the vision, and Baron is going down. True Shot Barrage is getting real close, but it doesn't find it in time. Baron picked up by Korea on spawn, as Chinese Taipei make a single mistake, and it is going to cost them huge.
That's why you have to respect Baron so early on. Chinese Taipei thought they had the ability to wait it out just a little bit before they were safe enough to place a ward down. You know, do all the due diligence, like push bottom lane, push mid lane. It was like, wait a second, now it's already gone. So
what happened?
It was smart from Korea to trickle members in, to make it seem it wasn't being done 5 seconds before it was actually being done.
Yeah.
So it happened slowly before Kog'Maw actually came towards it and helped it out. So really well done to trickle members in, and now they have a Baroned up Yasuo in a side lane.
Yeah. Pretty scary. Andy's got that stopwatch as well, but now the fight begins. Faker pushing up to the tier 2 bottom. Ruler starting to push up into that mid lane, and even Keen already pushing up to another tier 2 on the other side. Faker immediately steps up and asserts dominance over this side lane.
There's not a lot of armor being picked up here by PK. He's got the armor boosts and of course the Iceborne Gauntlet, but being able to deal with an Infinity Edge Phantom Dancer Yasuo is never enough.
Here goes the Banner Baron cannon firing onto the tier 2. It sets up the artillery siege, breaks down. that first tier 2. Well, denied the final shot. There it goes. Now it finally is broken. And the immediate engage bottom. PK with the reaction flash keeps himself alive, but cannot defend that bottom tier 2. Meanwhile, Keen is still going top. Eventually, Maple will have to give up ground there as the Predator is activated. Peanut, which target is he looking for? He steps up. They're just trying to buy time. Baroned up minions, breaking down the inhibitor. Knock up onto Betty. Faker thought about it, but decides not to take it.
Yeah, just taking a look. They can actually take as much time as possible because of Keen's pressure here.
Maple over the wall. Finds the Azir sec, but Keen might just be trying to walk this out here. He takes a turret shot and might pay with his life. Uses the cannon barrage as Keen makes a mistake and nearly dies.
Yeah, the main mistake. Why is he autoing Maple under tower?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. He was actually pretty comfortable underneath
just walked away.
Exactly. Completely get out of there. He's not dealing enough damage for you to really care about it. So, yeah, at least now he knows.
That means the Baron Siege will be temporarily stalled out by Korea as Keen makes his way back to base and heads bottom to start pushing in. The rest of Korea still have about a quarter of the duration on that Baron left, about 30 seconds or so. So they might get the chance to push in one more wave, but it looks more like they're going to reset the map and try to reclaim control over Chinese Taipei's half of vision.
And what I like is that they based and immediately got themselves QSS. Kog'Maw has QSS, and in fact, Yasuo feels pretty confident that he hasn't finished up his GA. He said, actually, I still haven't used my stopwatch from last time.
Might as well.
So that's, that's good enough. So he's just going to go and join these fights and have the safety of the stopwatch and QSS involved. So Morgana's not going to be doing too much. And maybe the slow can get QSS by Maple, but that's not really a threatening factor in these fights. So it's very limited. Sword Art's going to be feeling pretty useless.
Now it's Faker pushing up with the rest of Korea onto the tier 2. Immediate Emperor's Divide just to deny Faker's all-in. As he's starting to get some damage onto the tier 2, that Baron buff about to wear off. There it goes. Chinese Taipei are able to defend, but already Ruler and Core JJ have set up mid. Keen is pushing to the inhibitor bottom. Dark Binding lands onto Core JJ, the one member without a QSS, but luckily that Recon nice and mobile.
Even without Baron, the strategy here is pretty damn good for Korea, but wait a second.
All of the Forge God goes wide and only hits Brittle onto Core JJ, but he just backs it up, doesn't even have to flash. But that said, so much expended mid lane to try and find a fight. Faker breaks down the tier 2.
There we go. I mean, lane assignments are so good from Korea, they don't need the Baron buff, essentially. They might get Keen.
There's the chase onto Keen. Maple shows up. That's some good damage. Cannon barrage onto PK, but he's nice and tanky.
Wait a
Keen
second.
Heals up. He's looking for the kill and gets the barrel combo as he's dying. Meanwhile, Ruler and Core JJ step up onto Betty. Faker chases forward. He's got the last breath. Hits the Steel Tempest. He's knocked up, not the other way around. Finally, he's got the last one, and over the wall he goes. PK will go low, and Ruler slams down the kill. Suddenly, Chinese Taipei are falling apart. Faker stalling not one, but 2 minion waves because he wants double inhibitor. He might want to end the game.
This is just a complete obliteration. 24 seconds is not that long of a time. I wonder if they try to end it now when Baby and Sword Art could very clearly stall them before this time ticks. So I think they're just going to get as much as possible here.
Looking for double inhibitor instead. They don't have the minion waves crashing in. The inhibitor is broken. The second one follows. Keen has got his teleport ready, but he doesn't need to as the Dark Binding hits Peanut and the pillar. But escorted out by his team. Actually, that's the all-in engage. That's greedy, but Last Breath is already off of cooldown. Faker's over the wall. He finds Maple. He goes golden. That's the teleport as Keen joins in. True Shot Barrage is not enough as Betty will go down. The flash to sidestep one. And the second Ruler with the fast fingers is still alive in Chinese Taipei. In taking the fight, in taking the bait, are going to lose the game here as they are aced by Korea, who turn onto the Nexus and break it down, taking the win over Chinese Taipei.
Yeah, they get the tiebreaker, and Rule is going to be coming out, hopefully picking up some Matador clothing after that one. So, excellently played by Korea. Super clean, and once they found themselves in that 1-3-1, there is no way you could stop Faker on that side lane.
Yeah, massive setup from Korea, but they take the